Welcome to Section 3, Adding and Subtracting Decimals. In this video, we're going to look at estimating and adding decimals. Now, estimating is helpful in any situation to help determine the size of your answer. Now, when we're dealing with decimals, front-end estimating is very helpful. The way this works is we drop the decimals and just add the whole numbers. So, for example, if we were estimating 6.54 plus 13.09, I would just drop the decimal part of the numbers, and then I would add the numbers in the front, 6 plus 13, which is 19. So I know my answer should be around 19. So if I get an answer in the hundreds, I would know that is way off. And if I get an answer that would be 2.3, I know that would be off as well. So I know the approximate size should be around 19. So now let's practice this more. Estimate each sum. So dropping the decimals and just adding the whole numbers, I would have 9 plus 4, which is 13. Now in B, I'm adding 3 numbers, so I would add 1, 21, and 12 together to give me an answer of approximately 34. And for C, I would add 164 and 0. So my answer is around 164. So now let's estimate, but then actually add to see how close our estimate is. So 2.354 plus 13.1. My estimate is going to be 2 plus 13, or around 15. So let me just write that here so I'll have some space to do the calculation. Now the way we add decimals is we need to write them vertically. Right now, these are written horizontally. So I need to write it vertically, which means up and down. Now when we write it vertically, we need to line up the decimals. So let me show you. I have 2.354. Now when I write down 13.1, I'm going to write it like this. Notice I have my decimal right underneath the other decimal. That's what I mean by lining them up. Here you can see that the decimals are not lined up. That would not be correct. We have to line up the decimals to ensure that we add the ones place with the ones place and the tenths place with the tenths place and so on. So now what we can do is fill in any empty spaces with zeros. Again, just to be sure you're adding the correct place values together. So now we can just add the numbers and be sure to write in the decimal. So let's go ahead. Starting on the right, we'll do 4 plus 0, which is 4. 5 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 1 is 4. Now we'll write in the decimal. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 0 plus 1 is 1. Now let's compare that with our estimate. We got an answer of 15.454, and our estimate was 15, so that was very close. So I know that my answer is reasonable. Now let's do some more practice. So we'll start by estimating, and then we'll add them together. So to start, my estimate would be 4 plus 7, which is 11. Now I'll write up my decimals vertically, ensuring my decimals are lined up. I'll start by adding 3 plus 9. Now that is 12. So I'll put a 2 here, and I have to carry my 1. Now I've got to include my decimal. Now I'll add 7 plus 4, which is 11, plus 1 gives me 12. Now comparing that with our estimate, I see that we are good. Now for the next one, my estimate will just be 0 plus 0, which is 0. So now let's see what we actually get. So I have 0.086, and when I write out 0.45, I got my decimals lined up. And I'm just going to fill in a 0 underneath the 6. So let's add. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 5 is 13. I'm going to carry my 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Write out the decimal. And then we have a 0. So again, we have a very reasonable answer that matches our estimate. Now for the last one, my estimate is going to be 13 plus 14, which is 27. Now when I got to line up my decimals, 13 don't have any decimals right now, but I can certainly write it in. The decimal is always after the number. So it would be 13 point, and I'll add 2 zeros, seeing as 14.65 has 2 decimal places. So now let's add. I would have 5, 6, right at my decimal, 7, and 2. You can see that is very close to my estimate, so we're good. So that's how you can use front-end estimation when adding. So you can now proceed to the next video in this lesson.